Hey everybody, my name is Stephen Harstein and I have a story to tell. And I thought a lot about how I was going to present my experiences from this time of my life. This video took much longer for me to figure out. I really wanted to get this right, so I gave myself more time to get to a place where I knew what I am about to say makes sense. I also want people to know that what I talk about in this episode really deserves a trigger warning. That I talk about bullying and abuse and assault in specific incidents. With that, viewer discretion is advised. Now, these events begin to take place around 1997 when I was about 12 years old. Psychological abuse, mental anguish, physical suffering, name calling, group malice, and ignorance, put much more succinctly, bullying. Hatred is taught, bullies are made, and victims are alone. All through my puberty years, every single day the bullying continued, and I was left being outcast completely. I didn't have a single friend. I didn't have a single teacher I could talk to about it. It wasn't just mental abuse. I was physically assaulted too. But there was a problem. See, these videos haven't really given some much needed context. I wasn't just intersex, I was big. I was always really tall. Taller than my teachers in grade 3, taller than my football coaches at 13 years old, 6 foot 2 inches by the time I was in grade 9, and taller than pretty much any and all of my peers. Little extra context, I now stand at 6 foot 8 inches tall and over 400 pounds. So as I kept getting beat up and poked and prodded by not one kid but multiple bullies, the teachers wouldn't believe me. I remember my parents trying to get involved once or twice, but it always came down to the teachers saying I'm able to defend myself, and that the bruises are because I'm actively engaging in this wrestling behavior with the other kids, under my own will. Like, no, this was not my idea of a good time. This was not true, and I hated it. I felt like I was living in some upside down world where good people that don't do anything wrong get treated horribly because why? I had no idea, and it really broke me as a person. So what does that have to do with being intersex? Well, it's the reason the bullying took place. Up until this point, I've lived as a boy. I've had many androgynous features, but I could generally pass as a boy until now. Puberty has begun, and because I have this genetic mutation, my body is confused. It's making testosterone, but it's not using it. So my body converts that unused testosterone into estrogen. And I begin to develop very obvious breasts by the age of 11 or 12. My breasts grew quickly and were larger than most of my female peers at the same age, and I thought, surely there's a solution. Surely I don't have to let this happen to me, right, after everything I've been through. So I go to the doctors, and by this time the bullying had already started. I was told that I had no choice, that this is who and what I am. There is nothing that could be done to help my newfound gender dysphoria and body dysmorphia. And of course, these terms weren't really used back then or understood. No mental health support was offered or recommended. Do you know what the doctor told me? She told me to wear larger size shirts, to layer my shirts and have a button up over top. That was my solution. Nothing about what to do in the male change room when having to change my gym shirt. No mention of how to handle any of the social interactions that I was about to navigate. I wasn't male, I wasn't female, I was completely alone. I was called horrible names. I had my breasts and nipples constantly fondled and poked and twisted. Bruised nipples and surrounding tissue was pretty normal, but I hid it well. The boys all thought it was hilarious and so much fun that they can touch real breasts without the social stigma and consequences attached to, sexually assaulting a female. A group of them would hold me while others would touch me. So in that way, I was sexually assaulted, often. So often that eventually I stopped fighting back. All while being called names like hermaphrodite, titty boy, accused of being a freak, told that I don't belong anywhere, literally. So yeah, that sucks. And up until now, I've never really publicly talked about this. I may not have even told my parents, who will likely watch this, and that's okay, because if it's a shock to you, if you're feeling something from watching this, then you're part of the way to understanding what it was like to live it. It's not retribution I'm looking for, it's just understanding. And unfortunately, this bullying meant that I didn't even want to go to school anymore. And up until that point in my life, I loved school and I was really good at most subjects, but I couldn't take the pain every single day, so I skipped school. At first, I only skipped sometimes, but by the time I was in grade 9, it was a pretty regular occurrence. I couldn't take going to gym class and having to sit in the locker room and endure that abuse. I couldn't take going to class knowing that people were talking about me and what they're going to do to me or say about me. So now I'm hurting myself as much as others are hurting me. And it needs to be said, I wasn't suicidal. I wanted to beat this. I wanted to overcome it. I wanted to believe that the world we live in isn't really this vile. So I persevered. I was resilient. But my struggles weren't over. I still had these disgusting breasts just hanging off of me, constantly reminding me that I've got this problem and that I really am an outcast from normal society. This video is heavy, and I wanted to say thank you for watching and listening to this. And in hindsight, I really do wish while I was going through this that I had even one person see me, even if one person stood beside me during these incidents or reached out afterwards to tell me, hey, yeah, I know this was wrong and I'm sorry that this happened. With that, if you're having problems with bullying, please reach out to somebody that you can trust, or anyone. Reach out to somebody, even if it's just me. You're not alone, and there is love and kindness in this world. You're a superhero for going through something like that and still having the strength to reach out for help. And you're a superhero for stepping up to help someone in need that is suffering from bullying. Be a superhero.